Hello everyone, this is ArkAlpha12 here at ArkAlpha Studios and ArkAlpha12 Plays, and let's see here, we're going to turn this down just a little bit so that way you guys can hear me a little bit better. I am playing Summer Rose Court. Excuse me, let me repronounce that. Summer Rose Court. There we go. I had multiple people who have talked to me about my JPDE playthroughs on Discord and whatnot, whether or not I was going to actually play this game, and to be honest, I wasn't sure. I know nothing about this game whatsoever. Is there a full screen? That's what I want. I know nothing about Summer Rose Court at all. Like, this is a game that has been brought to my attention, but I know literally nothing about it. So aside from the fact it's a RWBY alternate universe, so I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this or not, but we're going to definitely see what's going to happen, because I know a lot of people really like my JPD playthroughs, really like me reading out everything in the various voices. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I'm a little intimidated because I believe this story focuses almost exclusively on RWBY as the main character, and that means you guys are going to hear my high-pitched RWBY voice a lot. So, I mean, for those who want me to play this game, you asked for this. So yeah, I have actually, unlike JPDE, I've never touched this game at all. There's no save files. Like, if I go in load, you can see I've got tons and tons and tons and tons of empty slots forever. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how to romance anybody. I don't know how to do anything, but we're going to find out here in a second. So, without further ado, let's get started. I'm scared, honestly. That's stupid to say, but I don't know. Okay, there are several companion romances for RWBY in Summer Rose Court. Would you like to disable the romantic relationship between RWBY and her foster sister? Pardon me, I was just scooting my chair. I know a lot of people really don't like Enabler, but I mean, if they're foster siblings, it's not incest genetically. So for the full playthrough, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do that. So I am going to say no, we are not disabling that. I might end up wanting to see what their take on Enabler is. So we'll see. I don't know. I kind of want to see what Penny's like. Well, you know, because I really like Nuts and Bolts. Or Nuts and Dolts. Nuts and Dolts is my favorite ship from all of RWBY. Since I don't know who's supposed to be talking or if this is just a generic narrator, I'm going to just read it in my voice. And if it turned out to be RWBY, then, well, screw me, because that means my vocal cords are going to be shot. It was soon to be a grim night. Let's turn that down a little bit more. There we go. It was soon to be a grim night. The Kingdom of Vale and its capital heart, Beacon. A shining jewel of a city, it was an island of hope amidst the despair that ran rampant throughout the rest of the plain. But soon, the kingdom came under siege from a threat that its people had long thought to be only a myth. The creatures of Grimm. From the shadows, they erupted, eager to devour. One horde attacked the city itself, ravaging every bright soul within. Another horde, smaller but no less dangerous, made to ransack the castle. The castle guard stood no chance, for the creatures of Grimm had hides too tough for blades to pierce. Their fangs and claws were made to rip through armor, to break bone and tear flesh asunder. Well, that sounds bleak. This they did, in their eternal quest to slay... To slake? I think that means the sake. This they did in their eternal quest to sate the hungers that drove them. And so they would, moving further into the castle to come upon the Queen and King of Vale. Vale's rulers were brave and true, fierce warriors who defended their homes and family with the strength and determination. But eventually, even the mighty king and queen were soon overtaken and devoured. No human forged steel or mere human strength could possibly defeat the foul beasts. All seemed lost as the night drew on. Screams of horror shattering what had once been a quiet evening. It was then that the king's advisor, Lord Ozpin, and his lifelong friend, Lady Goodwitch, appeared. Lady Goodwitch, a renowned wizard from the north, cast a devastating spell that banished the Grimm from the castle. Through the mighty forces of magic, Lady Goodwitch saved the people of Beacon from the horde of Grimm. The people gave great cheer as they realized what had come to pass and that their lives had been spared. However, their cry of celebration soon turned to one of mourning as they realized that the king and queen had been lost in the attack. And upon further investigation, the young princess of the kingdom had vanished as well, presumed dead. However, Lord Ozpin was not convinced that the Grimm had slain the young princess, as they had her parents. They asked Lady Goodwitch to search for any sign of the princess, and to cross the entire kingdom if necessary. Lady Goodwitch agreed, and as Lord Ozpin took the throne as regent for the next day, she swept away into the night. And so begins our story. Okay, now it's Ruby's. Oh, no. My voice is not prepared for this. Alright. I promised a couple people I was going to do this, so, again, you asked for this. I stretch and wake. That's a very odd art style, I'm not going to lie. It's early. At least I slept well anyway. No nightmares last night. Yang's already gone? That's new. I'm usually up way before she is. 7 years later and she still manages to surprise me. I'm gonna go find Yang. We probably got chores that need doing. That probably sounds like where she's gonna be. Hey, don't take that tone with me. You know better. I'm working with what I've got, all right? Yang, what's going on? Morning, Ruby. The dragons are just throwing a temper tantrum. Isn't that right, Ember? What about Celica? I had to separate her from the rest of the dragons. She wasn't playing nice. What's got them so upset? We can't exactly afford to have angry dragons on our hands. Well, we gave them their food last night thinking we'd have plenty left over, but... we're out of dragon food? Yep. You checked all the bags? Yep, we're completely out. Yang, how could you? Remember the last time we ran out of food? But it's not going to come to that this time because I have your first chore for the day. Are you serious? Why do I have to do extra work because you can't take care of your own dragons? Because I'm the big sister and I make the rules. Besides, you were a big sleepyhead and I woke up first. So I get to easy chores. Those are the rules. Take him or leave him. The dragons need me to stay here to babysit them so they don't cause a havoc in the pens. So go get a move on to the markets. Fine. I'll go get them some food. Get back here as soon as you can. Wow, there's a lot of people here. The markets haven't been this busy in a while. I searched through the piles of animal feed looking for the dragon food, but I'm finding nothing. Dragon food is very distinct. Unlike other animals, they don't need to drink water more than once every few months. In fact, too much water makes them unhealthy. There's a lot of speculation as to why that is, with explanations ranging from biological to the occult. In the end, no one knows for sure. Seems like kind of useless information, but I got a feeling it's probably going to come up eventually. The end result is that the only thing a dragon will eat is desiccated meat, essentially mummified by being buried under the sand for at least a week. Interesting amount of specifics. Good to know. I'm not going to remember that. Hey, do you have any dragon food? I'm not seeing any. I'm almost positive that we have at least one bag somewhere in here. I'll go check for you. I'm sorry, but we're completely out. The next shipment is due in later this week if you don't mind waiting. The Grimm have been attacking our supply convoys recently, so it's been difficult to restock. No, don't worry about it. I'll head back to the stables and ask Yang what she wants to do. Thanks for looking, though. Come on, you lazy dragon. Back inside. Hey, Yang. The supplier didn't have any feed, and she won't have any more until later this week. Ruby, we need this food now. We can't keep hunting dragons smack dab in the middle of the village. We could go to the next village over. They don't have as many dragons as we do, so they're bound to have some feed for sale. Yang takes the tack off the wall and starts to saddle up the dragons. That'll work. If we leave within the hour, we can get there by the afternoon and leave before nightfall. Don't forget to bring a weapon this time, okay? That was one time! That seems very unlike Ruby, but this is an AU, I guess. Like, Ruby doesn't like going anywhere without Crescent Rose. I'm serious. We've been getting reports from some of the other clans that the Grimm have been acting up. Don't get snippy just because I'm looking out for your dumb butt. Sure. Don't worry, I'll be sure to keep Little Thorn on hand at all times. Little Thorn, huh? That rickety old thing? I know it belonged to your uncle, but you really need to find something sturdier soon, Ruby. Little Thorn is a beauty and a treasure. Don't you dare talk back. that sounds like Ruby. Little Thorn is a beauty and a treasure. Don't you dare talk about my child that way. Whatever. Just saddle Celica up and let's go. Yang and I go to the neighboring village. Though there haven't been any hostilities between the clans in a long while, we were treated very coldly. It is made clear that the sooner we leave, the better. A little bitter, but not wanting to start a scene so far from home and safety, we pay for our goods and leave while the sun is high. It isn't ideal traveling conditions, but we are more than willing to face the desert than a town full of prickly strangers. Yang? Was it just me, or were some of those villagers treating us, well, rudely? Yeah, I didn't want to start anything. You wanted to avoid trouble for once? Quiet, you. I thought we were in a truce with the tribe. Why the sudden hostility? I don't know. We'll have to bring it up with Dad at the next council meeting. We do have history with that clan, you know. Most of it isn't very nice. Well, I know that. But that was ages ago, before I even came here. It makes no sense that they'd get agitated over it now. When we aren't outright fighting, we need to look out for each other. That's the only way anyone can survive in this place. Yang shrugs. People. It still bugs me that they treated us like that, though. Did they think we crossed the desert just to pick a fight or something? Aw, sis, don't be too grumpy. I think it was a productive trip. And besides, it's not the destination, it's the journey. That's why I love traveling. Yeah, you've never left the desert your whole life. It's still traveling if I'm riding the dragons. I just like to move, okay? But speaking of leaving the desert, you know, your birthday is gonna roll around real soon. Maybe you and I should take a trip. Like, a real one, to somewhere far away. I've even saved up a bit of money. I was gonna surprise you, but I guess you need time to think about where you want to go and what we're going to pack and make preparations and stuff. How much money? Well, enough. Not enough to open a portal or anything, but we can't. What? Open a portal? We can't. Even if you had all the money in the village. Living material can't pass through the portals to go to other planes. Not without a rose on the throne. Though we are far from prying ears in the desert, I feel tension building on the back of my neck. This isn't something we're supposed to talk about. Not even in passing. Not even alone. Ah. I didn't know that. Not a lot of people do. Trade still flows, so no one questions it, probably. The only time they open the portals for humans is during wartime. That's what I learned, anyway. But still, ignoring that, what do you think about my idea, taking a trip? Even with the sun glaring down on us, I feel cold. My hands get clammy, the way they do after the nightmares that still haunt my sleep. I think we would be safer if I didn't go. Though she tries to hide how disappointed she is, I can still feel it radiating off of her. Yang was never really good at concealing her emotions. Oh, I just thought, you know, maybe if we avoided the capital. You'll never stop waiting for that guy to come back, will you? Your uncle. It's been 7 years since he left you here, RWBY. Can't you let him go? If he was going to return, wouldn't he have done it by now? If they really needed a princess, they wouldn't have sent you away. It's more than that. I just can't go back to the castle, Yang. I can't even risk it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to think about it. Well... She looks around her, desperately trying to deflect the conversation elsewhere. We're near a well-known way station between the villages, and she latches onto that fact. She points off into the distance, gesturing towards the watering hole. What do you say we take up a little break? My sister and I approach the oasis, intent on water and shade. We're barely 30 feet from the patch when the sand starts shaking. A hysteria emerges from under the sand. It's joined by its fellows, and my sister and I are surrounded. Damn it! These are the creatures of Grimm! I can't kill them with my glaive! Yang! Catch! Using the power of my semblance to create a fierce wind, I knock a Grimm towards Yang, who destroys it with her aura. One of the beasts slips past Yang's guard and swipes at Ember. She roars in surprise and hops backwards, throwing Yang to the ground. Yang! I'm fine. A Grimm approaches Yang from behind. She doesn't notice. Behind you! I jump from my dragon and swing my glaive. It catches the beast in the jaw and the blade breaks. What? I shake myself out of my stupor when another hysteria charges at me. Oh, they're like hyenas. Interesting. I beat it back and glance over at Yang. Yang is fighting 3 Grimm at once. She's starting to tire. There's no way we'll make it out of this alive. A series of brilliant purple lights strike down the hysteria. Dazzled, I blink away from the afterimage of a powerful figure in the stands, rippling like a mirage. Energy radiates from her in waves, slowly shrinking lower and lower until I can see her clearly. It's a woman. Are you two injured? Yang and I swear matching concerned glances. I'm fine. Ruby? Yeah. I direct my next comment towards a stranger. Thanks to you. Who are you? My name is Glinda Goodwitch, and I'm looking for the Xiaolong village. Would you be so kind as to guide me there? Sure, anything. You saved our lives. I thought for sure we were done for. I'm Yang Xiaolong, and this is Ruby. We'll take you back to the village. Just let me get our dragons. Very well. Glinda stares intently at me while I search for the blade to my glaive in the sands. You don't look like most people in this part of Vale. Well, I'm adopted. And I noticed you have silver eyes. That's certainly an unusual trait. I guess I do. I guess it is. I mean, yes, I do. It is. Why? Your companion. She called you Ruby. Yang's my sister. Well, my adopted sister, but I stopped talking, noticing the broken end of my glaive. Aha! Yes! Glinda isn't as easily distracted, and she continues interrogating me. Would your surname by any chance happen to be Rose? Well, I mean, I'm a Xiaolong, but before that I was Rose. I mean, I guess it's still Rose since I was never officially inducted into the clan, so, yes? My God. I've finally found you, haven't I? No doubt about it. You have your mother's face. And her eyes. There's no mistaking Rose's eyes. How you managed to stay hidden this long is a testament to Tai Yang's loyalty to Crow, if nothing else. Princess, I've come here to take you back. For a brief instant, I wonder if we were safer with the Grimm after all. Wait, back? Back where? I'm here to return you to your kingdom. She knows who I am! Is it too late to run? To hide? Panicking, I try to think what Crow would do. What kind of lie he would tell to maintain my secret. I never thought I'd run into someone who knew the truth. All the way out in the desert. My kingdom? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a girl. I said I was adopted, but there was a caravan that got attacked by bandits. The Xiaolong tribe took me in when I was barely 10. My lady, I'm sorry, but I do not have time for this. I came here for an important reason. Did you notice how the beasts which attacked you earlier were acting? That is not how the creatures of Grimm normally behave. They do not strike in waves or wait until someone's back is turned. This is not an isolated incident either. The Grimm are becoming more intelligent. That is why I'm here. I need you to come back to Beacon. Once you're there, we can truly begin to fight back against these monsters. So, let's not waste precious time. You're coming with me. Now. No! I turn around and put my cloak back on. Good. I shall speak with Miss Xiaolong and... What did you say? I'm not going to leave the village. I'm sorry you came all the way here, but I don't want to leave. Ruby, I'm sorry, but you don't have much choice. You are the princess, and you are needed most desperately. Searching around for some kind of escape, I'm just about ready to bolt into the desert when Yang returns. Yang! Oh, Yang, you're back! We can ride as well as talk. Eyes narrowing, Yang picks up on my mood, sensing my discomfort around Glinda. You'll ride with me then, I think. As we ride, I can't help but think of the last thing Crow said to me before he left. To keep my identity a secret, to not trust anyone who came sniffing around, to stay hidden and start a new life with an alibi he had constructed for me. But if Glinda is a threat, then why would she bother saving me and Yang from the Grimm? I don't trust her, and I definitely don't want to leave with her. But at the same time, I don't think she's an enemy. We take her to our father's tent. Tai Yang has been friends with the crows, trusted with the secrets of my identity, and would know what to do. His eyes darken at the news. Excusing himself for a moment, he leaves to go get something, and I am left alone with Yang and Glinda. She wastes no time trying to hustle me out of the village. Miss Rose, there are preparations to make before we leave. You had best get started with them immediately. Yang! Yang places a comforting hand on the small of my back, whispering low enough so that only I can hear her. Don't worry, sis. I got you. Go do what you need to do. Raising her voice, she stands between me and Glinda, clapping the woman on the shoulders and blocking me from her view. What do you think you're... So, about these preparations, how cold is it in the castle? Normally, we Xiaolongs like to make our panties from the hides of robed sand dragons, but maybe you should get Ruby something woolen. I mean, if her royal butt froze on the throne, how would her subjects take her seriously? Queen Ruby of the Icy Rear isn't going to strike fear to the heart of anyone. My sister continues to loudly distract Glinda while I make my escape. Oh, do they make armored underwear? That would be even better. I'm thinking we can get Ruby a set made out of plate and chain. Put some spikes on it to intimidate her enemies while she rides into battle. Or we can make something out of an Ursa skull. Have you ever headbutted one? They're really strong. Oh my god. Yang! Her junk would be stylish and safe in a pair of those. Are you writing this down? Actually, I just remembered I have a thing. Later. Glad I gave that woman a slip. I need to get my weapon fixed in case she tries to do anything funny with me. Don't worry, sweetheart. You'll be better soon. Just hold on. Hold on for me. Be strong just a little longer.
So, are you going to buy anything, or do I have to ask you to leave?
Yes! Yes! As in, I'm going to buy something, not yes! Tell me to go. Well, I'm not really here to buy anything. It's more of a no to both options.
Uh-huh.
Can you please fix her, please?
That's a nasty break. You'd be better off getting a new weapon.
Just fix her, please.
It's gonna take time to reforge something like this, and the metal still won't be as strong. You've got a nice selection of glaives in the back if you want to take a look. How about it?
Nope.
I've been working with metal a long time, miss. Trust me, you'll see more use out of a new one.
Thanks for your time, then.
Wait! I can fix it!
Yay!
Just leave it here, and I'll see what I can do. Dragonfire takes a while to get going, but it'll give you the best results.
His eyes were purple when talking to Ruby, but they're red now in the CG. Interesting.
Is there anything else I can do to help you with?
Nope, I'm fine.
So why are you still here?
Do you mean I can't watch?
No.
Oh, okay. Take good care of her, then. I'll be back soon. Man, those repairs can't be done soon enough. My poor child, all alone in the arms of a stranger. I can't even think about it. I can't go home just yet. We left that creepy good witch lady there to talk to with my father. I'm gonna go hang out with Yang to distract myself instead. I bet she's with the dragons. Who's a good girl, Sing a song for me, baby. You gotta do better than that if you want dinner. Sing! Ow! Ruby? Oh, hey! I didn't see you there. I was teaching Amber how to dragon. I think they're dragoning pretty well already. Anyway, sis, speaking of dragons, the storyteller's going to do our favorite story tonight. Do you want to come with me and kill some time? I did sight Good Witch Lady at Dred's tent, but they're still talking and he hasn't kicked her out yet. Yeah, then I definitely don't want to go home. I need a break from these dragons. They've been antsy and stubborn all day. Yes, I'm talking about you, Fussy Fangs. Anyway, let's go. Yang and I stand on the outside of a small semicircle of children and younger teens. A few adults are scattered here and there, all holding onto their children's hands or with their babies in their laps. This is more of a child's event. Yang and I are the oldest people here unaccompanied. All of them are dark-skinned, sandy-haired Xianglong visitors. Though no one says anything, I know I must stand out like a sore thumb. It reminds me of Glinda. I don't want to be reminded of Glinda. I look at Yang smiling beside me, then at the center of the circle. A storyteller, a blazing fire beside him as his dolls and puppets cast shadows that tell our favorite story. Looks like we got here just in time. He just started.
This is a story from the beginning. Before the desert, before the heat, man, beasts, and plants lived together in the cycle of death and rebirth. The rain was soft and gentle, and our families lived and ruled far and wide, in peace and plenty. I could heckle, but I'm not going to be rude. This is our favorite story. Why would we want to ruin it? And then came the creatures of Grimm. That is very clearly a Death Stalker. They spread through the land like a wildfire, and everything they touched withered and died. The sands blew in, the rains stopped, and when they did come, they flooded and drowned our livestock and our homes. But humanity was not to be wiped out just yet. Allies appeared from the furthest plains, and with our hopes restored, we drove the Grimm back. We stood up, led by our bravest and wisest, and though the creatures of Grimm still run free in certain parts of the plane, humanity thrives as well. That is why, whenever we receive a plea for aid from another plane, we always respect the arrangement made by past generations and give them our finest warriors, as they do for us. One of our greatest warriors was Xiaolong, the ancestor to our own leader, and the woman for whom our tribe is named. She went searching for her husband, who had gone missing during a hunting trip. Yeah! She found him in the claws of a mother dragon, but instead of slaying the beasts, she established dominance over them. Dragons are incredibly intelligent, and she was one of the first to tame them. Ever since that day, dragons have served us, protected us, and guided us through the sands, and they serve, too, as a mark of their owner's character. Only the fiercest, the bravest, and the most noble can successfully rein in a wild sand dragon. They are loyal only to their masters, and those who have their masters' hearts. The first dragon displayed loyalty only to Xiaolong and her husband.
And we have one right here!
A real Xiaolong who went into the desert and bested a wild sand dragon. That's right. Yes, it's true. When she was young, the eldest Xiaolong girl got separated from her caravan during a Grimm attack. Forced to choose between the wilds and the Grimm, she chose the wilds and all the dangers it possessed. She returned days later holding the reins of a sound dragon as her ancestor did many generations before. And that is the story of how the creatures of Grimm scorched the land, and how our old life ended, and how our bond with the dragons began. It feels different from the first time I heard it. Nah, it's the same. We've changed, maybe. Still good, though. Yeah. Good dragon. Yang places her hand on Ember's snout. No, don't worry. I didn't forget about your dinner. I had to do some things with your other mama for a bit, but I'm back now. Aren't I a bit more like their auntie than anything else? Oh, yeah, of course. I guess I forget sometimes. Forget what? Well, you know. Remember how the other kids picked on us after they saw how my dragons were towards you? That's right! Wow, that was so long ago. They used to say that it meant that I was your husband now, like the other Xiaolong from the story. Ugh, I know. It got to the point where even I thought it meant that we were supposed to be married one day. Huh! So this is my first romantic choice, huh? I'm gonna save right there. And I'm not going. I don't think I'm going to go for the what do you call it? The enabler route this round, but I am curious as to see what happens. I thought so too. Me too, honestly. I used to make up plans when we grew up together. I mean, I guess we all thought strange things as kids. Yeah. Anyway, let's go home. I think Dad might have run off that Glinda weirdo by now. My glaive should be ready soon, too. Yeah, we wasted enough time digging around the fireplace. We arrived back at our tents to see that Dad was asleep and that Glinda... We arrived back at our tents to see that Dad was asleep and that the Glinda lady was nowhere to be found. Every tension I have slips away. In a sudden relief, I feel exhausted. It's late. I should head to bed soon, too. I'm so tired. I had to run all the way back to the blacksmith to pick up my glaive. And then there's all that stuff Glinda and her feed supplier told me. The Grimm were starting to act weird, but they'll probably keep acting weird whether I stay or go to Beacon. And since I'd rather stay here, that's a problem for future RWBY. I step towards my bedroll. Just before I lay down, something slams into me, knocking me down. What? A struggling lump rides in the fabric of my tent wall, nearly pulling the whole thing down. It grunts and chokes, almost sounding like someone I know, but I couldn't quite place the voice. These Xiaolongs sometime, I swear. I get up, grabbing my glaive from where it rests next to my bed. Poking the lump with the blunt end, I loudly start to complain. Hey, what's the deal? That doesn't sound good. What? A scream rents the air. I run outside and turn just as my tip collapses. A hysteria working its way out of the tangle. It looks at me and makes a noise. Something between a growl and a laugh. Oh no! The Grimm runs towards me and leaps towards my chest. I spin tightly, the butt of my glaive coming in an upward sweep, slamming it into the Grimm's side and making it screech. It flies out of sight. I can't kill you guys, but I sure as heck can knock you back. I turn around to look at the village.
Already a number of Xiaolong bodies lie still. Several parents run with their children in tow, while other Xiaolong fight against the monsters. A handful of Grimm turn to chase after the fleeing villagers. Oh no, you don't! I call upon my semblance, leaping into place to protect the Xiaolong's retreat. Again, I strike the Grimm away, hard enough to send them flying. Why can't I kill these things? A pillar of flame roars into existence near the center of the village. That must be Yang! I wonder how many she's got with that! The light attracts the Grimm, enough to make them advance towards the fight and away from those attempting to retreat. Satisfied that they're no longer after non-combatants, I run towards the middle of the village where I can hear most of the fighting taking place. In the center of the village, the great fire remains burning, its flickering light alternately illuminating and obscuring the horrid scene. Human forms litter the ground, their bodies far outnumbering those of fallen Grimm. They're doing it again! The Grimm are attacking in an organized manner, fighting in waves! Some would strike and then they would fade into the night while the second wave advances. Then the first wave strikes again, in double their numbers against the Xiaolong. It's a terribly effective tactic! The other Xiaolongs use their semblance to fend off the beasts, or lob pots of burning oil at the creatures. But even with their help, we're still outnumbered, and still caught unawares. No one expected an ambush, not at this magnitude. The Grimm do not wait until nighttime to attack, stealthily hiding their approach until it's too late to set up a defense. They're loud, mindless beasts of screaming fury. Stealth, midnight raids, setting traps near the oasis or other well-known resting spots, these are human tactics. Bandits' tactics. This is the kind of an animal cunning that the Grimm have never exhibited before. Pardon me. Glinda steps forward and blasts the Grimm with her magic.
Get a bad feeling if I don't fight with Yang, so I'm gonna go fight with Yang.
I smile at Glinda, who gives a curt nod before returning to her bloody work. I dash off in Yang's direction. Finding Yang was easy enough, the only pillar of flame in the darkness. As I approach, I see a Grimm creeping up from behind her. Ferociously intent on the hysteria trying to tear her arm bracers off, Yang doesn't see it. Yang! Look out! I turn with my semblance, tackling her out of the harm's way. We fall to the ground as the Grimm leaps at us, bowling into the crowds of other hysteria Yang has been dealing with. Thanks, little Rose. Under Yang's guidance, the militia manages to regroup. Using the tactics she tried drilling into them, we take out a few more of the Grimm and defend the village. Glinda was a great help as well, and the battle is over by the time the sun rises.
Yeah, but how many people died?
Too many people were lost that night. Children, men, women, people I had known, people who had come to accept me as part of their own. The clan is large, with not everyone directly related to anything other than their own clan name, but we all looked out for each other as family. I can't even believe that all this happened in one night. I feel numb, sitting on the edge of my father's tent. He had lived, as had Yang, but so many other people did not. Glinda finds me eventually.
I am sorry it took so long for me to act. I'm afraid I was unaware of the situation until it was rather late.
It's okay. You helped a lot once you showed up. More than I did, really.
Ruby, I know that you told me you wish to stay with the Xiaolongs, but all of the Grimm in Vale are becoming disorganized. It's not just this desert. It's everywhere. This has happened in many other places. It happened that night 7 years ago. The attack that cost your parents their lives.
You mean? Twice. This has happened to my home, my family, twice? And both times I was powerless to help.
Yes, and I can guarantee you this will happen again. Here, somewhere else, I don't know. But it will happen again. There are ancient protection spells that defend our plane, and they are dying. We need a true-blooded heir to rekindle them. That's you, Ruby. We need you. If you don't come with me, this will continue to happen until humanity is eradicated from this plane and eventually every other. However, if you take up your royal duty as the heir apparent, then you can make it clear to your people that these are not just isolated incidents. We cannot forget, and we cannot twiddle our thumbs until another, much worse attack happens. So, I will ask you again, will you return to Beacon and claim your birthright?
I don't answer immediately. I look at Glinda, and then almost anywhere but at her. I had been almost certain of my decision the night before, but much had happened in those last few hours. I'm no longer so sure.
I say you go for it. It honestly couldn't hurt, you going there. And hey, might be nice to get a change of scenery. Seeing the same desert every day wears me out.
I'm just not sure I could do it. I'm not much of a queen.
Well, that's why I'm going with you. That way we can both be bad queens together.
You can't do that! You should stay with your family! The words slip out before I can stop them. Part of me still has some trouble believing I'm accepted here. Truly accepted. Yang slaps my arm, trying to be as gentle and teasing, but almost knocking me flat.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I told you I wanted to take that trip with you, Ruby. Now we can. We just might not come home for a while is all. I didn't realize you had the option to stay with the Xiaolong. But we are going to Beacon. It's the right thing to do, and honestly, I feel like Ruby, trepidations are not about being the heir apparent, would actually feel like she needs to go.
I look up at Glinda and nod. All right, let's go to Beacon. Much of the day is spent caring for the wounded and the fallen, and going through the destroyed village, seeing what was ruined and what might be repaired. Glinda and I help as much as we can, but she makes it clear she'd rather be on the road. At last, I stand alongside my sister and Glinda as Yang says her goodbyes. I only smile, trying to hold back tears as the clan bids us fond farewells. I'd only lived here for a few years, but they had been a rich and wonderful few years. Just before we leave, one of the older women gives me a small charm. It's an intricate piece of art, amber and blown glass, metal and dragon bone. The desert in its entirety is held within it, and when I look at the flaming heart of the Xiaolong clan etched on the surface, I realize what it is. A blessing. A talisman given from an older relative to a younger one. I promise to come home safely when the journey is over. I clench it tightly in my fists, trying not to show how close I am to tears. This really is my family. My home. If only I'd just seen it sooner.
Good luck to you, Ruby Rose.
Thank you. Thank you so much. With that, we climb atop the sand dragons, and I give a final wave to the Xiaolong village. We ride off, and it's not long before the village is out of sight. Only then do I allow myself to cry, though I keep it quiet, not wishing to disturb Yang or Glinda. So, with the bright moon to guide us, we go to the capital of the Kingdom of Vale.
Whew! Okay. I'll say that right there. I think that's a good stopping point. Because this recording has been going on for over an hour, and I'm going to try and edit it as far down as I can, but I can't promise anything because that was a lot of content. But this is the start of a new series, so I'm sure you guys aren't really going to complain all that much. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me on this new and interesting adventure. This is Arc Alpha 12, and I shall see you in the next video.